can't beat me. No fucking way. No fucking way in hell, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You have no chance in hell. That has no chance in hell. You beat me, I turn my game off, nigga. Call it a night.
This was the scene a few minutes ago. The dog pound in full roar as their Browns emerge from their tunnel. They're ready to go as they get set to match up with the Green Bay Packers.
Y'all come to the YouTube page, man. I got the rawest hoodie that you ever can buy, nigga, right here.
Timeout coming from the defensive side for the Packers. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this first quarter.
That's right. Boy, you stupid. Yeah, damn. I got another 4-foot nigga with a death wish, nigga, that came in here with the Cleveland Browns, nigga.
Second and 7 now from the 28.
Look at this nigga, man. Look at this nigga, man. Where we find these niggas at, bro? Where we find these sweet pie ass niggas at, man, with this bullshit ass game? They gonna run this goddamn garbage ass team against me, bro. What's wrong with this nigga, bro? I tell every nigga who tried me with the Cleveland Browns, you gotta be stupid. One stupid nigga, bro. Yeah, I got my broadcast up. One stupid fool, man. Come on, man. I'm gonna make this boy quit, man. Another victim, dog. Come watch this massacre, man.
This is taken at about the 14. They will power through. A good return there, 17 yards. And it'll be Packer football here. First down and 10.
Hey man, that Drake King sleep, man. Let him get some sleep. Be tired.
Rodgers will bring the pack up with a first and 10, right at the 30.
Man, listen, man, go down to my name, dog. Go to video, man, you'll find me down there, bro. Tell him how to do it, Damon.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Can they continue to create running lanes out of passing sets? And if so, it's going to be a long day for the defense. Second down, another shot for Jones. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. Give him 10 there. Good enough for a Packer first down.
Y'all got the broadcast up, man. This the fuck I do. I'm sitting here looking at it right now.
Second down and 8.
Go on your phone, man, and go to my YouTube page, man. You're gonna see my shit up right now. Well, you should be able to do it on the game. All you gotta do is go to my name and find the little thing down there.
The pick up there, and it's a first down.
It is up, man.
Brandon, we talk all the time about those hybrid players, guys who can do more than one thing. And I think if you're playing strong safety in the NFL today, you are a true hybrid. Part linebacker, part cover guy.
And coming up, sticking his nose in the mess there and making a nice play defensively. The last run got a couple. Here's second and 8.
Okay.
Tackled at the Browns' 24-yard line. Give him 10 yards there as this offense is on a roll. This drive continues to plunge forward.
Shit. I forgot the phone.
No score after one on EA Sports. On second down and 4, Rodgers. Got him in.
Touchdown.
Easy touchdown, dog. Easy motherfucking touchdown. I murder anybody who step on the sticks against me. I'm just that motherfucking good with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
Man.
I dropped the song too.
Yeah, they did that hype shit with Kanye West, right? This shit ain't nothing but a hype ass gospel album. It's a hype ass gospel album. That's all it is. Hi, everybody.
On is Mason Crosby for the point.
We never left each other. Well, first he had COVID, so he had to go stay with family. Cause he sure had to get the hell out of my house. Huh?
Oh yeah, he was on the way I was gone.
He was on the way he was gone. Our son gone now. We'll go stay with his dad. We'll go give Chicago a try. Right, baby.
Hey, Demon.
The Browns drive about to get started.
Hey.
And they'll certainly be trying to do better than that first drive where they went
Here we go, what? I can't go.
After that.
Damon, what the fuck are you doing, man? You wasting my time.
You look good. You look like a salad in a fucking. You look like a salad in a wrap.
No, you didn't go 3 and out. I went 3 and out on that first time. I didn't go.
It's good. I'll let you know.
Second
Might be
down,
bomb.
there's Chubb again.
I'll eat you like.
Stop this shit, Demon. Stop this shit, man. Stop the embarrassment. You embarrassing yourself with this shit you doing, bruh. It's so kindergarten bullshit you doing, and you think this shit gonna fucking work, man.
And they ain't getting no sauce to go with it, nothing.
I think it's some ranch in that bag right there.
Oh, the Chick-fil-A bag?
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, this boy making it easy for me, man. What the fuck is he thinking? What his kindergarten bullshit plays he doing, bro? Think he gonna beat me with this shit? He ain't even gonna stand the game with this type of shit he doing. Somebody better help him. Big kid, he needs some help, boy. Need to teach him something, bro.
Oh, here we go.
This is Jones. And running room hard to come by here. He gets it down to the 8. It's a gain of a couple, and it'll be second and goal. Defensively, pretty good start there with their backs against the wall.
That's a win for the stop troops right there. And if I'm them, I get a little bolder now. They won the first battle. Keep coming after them. Put the pressure on them.
He don't understand that right now. He don't understand what this shit is. He lost. He confused.
Here's second and goal, operating from the 8-yard line. They'll try again with Jones. And he's able to get it down to the 2-yard line. 44 yards rushing for him now in the ball game. This is kind of one of those in-between plays here, Charles, on 3rd and goal from the 2 or the 3 in that area. What do you dial up?
Something quick hitting. You don't have the time for something that develops slowly. It's got to be right at them if you're going to run the football. And if you're going to throw it, something quick, get it out of your hands in a hurry.
Well, they really like to make the short field pay off. We'll see if they can, but this is 3rd and goal. Jones.
14-0, man. Somebody come help this boy, man.
From 2 yards out, and the Packers add 6 to their lead. Able to punch it in on 3rd down.
Told you, man. I'll never bring no punk ass Cleveland Browns against the motherfucking Packers. Man, I told that last man the same shit. I beat him 28-0. Made him quit. kill yourself every time you do it.
They already had it lined up, never even got to it.
Extra point try now for Crosby.
Man, I've been whooping niggas, man. I've been beating niggas to death. Everybody who stepped on the sticks.
And it's good to make it 14-0. Now after the touchdown.
So when you go get the game, you ain't got the game, nigga. Okay, put it in right now. I believe you. Nah, I don't want to hear that shit. Put that game in right now, and I believe what you saying, nigga. I don't want to hear that shit, man. Put that man in right now, and I believe that shit you saying. Hey, man, we're going to do an album together, man. Okay? I'm going to meet you in your city, man. We'll go to the studio. We're going to put an album together.
The Cleveland offense ready to go. They're in early home.
Hey, Demon. Hey, Demon heard my shit.
Decent sized deficit early.
Yeah,
I put Demon up on my shit.
I'm better though.
So they have to decide, do we even need to change game plan, or do we just need to execute better?
What you thinking, man? You thought that nigga was going to outrun him, Demon? That nigga 95 speed over there. You going after the wrong nigga, bro.
Now, I still think it's the right play because when you take those shots downfield, you open the eyes of the defense to what you could do to them, and that makes things.
Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. We not here to give up them type of yards. Let's go, defense. 3rd and 5.
On 3rd down, it's Nick Chubb.
Bring your little ass down, Nick Chubb. Now play with me if you want to, boy. Play with me if you fucking want to. You're going to give me the ball on the 28-yard line. I'm going to beat your ass to death. You're a fool, man. You damn fool, boy.
They're indeed going. It's Mayfield. And it's
No, nigga. No. No, I just told him not to do it. He hard-headed. Hard-headed motherfucker, man.
doesn't pan out. And the Packers are going to get the football back.
You just hard-headed, boy.
Throwing on 1st down is Rodgers. This one complete to Tunyon underneath. And down inside the 15, shy of the 10. The catch and run, good for 18 and a 1st down. On 1st down, Rodgers. Very quickly here.
21 nothing, man.
Get this into the end zone. Touchdown.
21 nothing, bro. So like 3 games in a row, man. I beat niggas 21 nothing real quick, man. Shit easy.
Able to strike quickly to add on to their lead.
Told this boy, man. Don't be a waste of my time. He kept begging for his ass whooping. I told him to play somebody, get his game up. If he beat somebody, I was gonna play him. He kept begging for his ass whooping.
Now after the touchdown, here's Crosby to kick it away. This is going to be returned from the middle of the end zone. And he returns this to the 22.
Ain't nobody beat me by no motherfucking 50 there.
The Browns drive about to get started. And some dangerous territory already down.
You better stop laughing because this shit ain't funny right now.
An inability to put any points up. This one might be over by half.
And what you also have to guard against is calling every play for a big shot downfield. You know, thinking you're going to get all these points back on one drive. You're not. And last time I looked, it's still the 1st half. I'm not saying you have to be patience here, but you also don't have to be going over.
That's pretty good.
I believe.
It's just like a fucking salad with a wrap on it. To got salad with wrap on some cheese and some chicken and some
He'll be taken down across the 50 at the 45 and into the territory. The Browns passing game finding its stride. They've got another first down. Flush to his right. And it's caught by Hoover.
Oh my God! Wow!
Before he crosses over out of bounds. A really good pickup of 28 yards. Took nearly the entire first half of the first red zone opportunity for him here. They've got a 1st and 10 at the 17. Mayfield hands it off to Chubb. And he's brought down just outside of the 10 at the 11. Now the Browns will use the first of their 3 timeouts. As they'll stop with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half.
Say what?
On 2nd down and 4. Mayfield throwing, but it's incomplete. Austin Hooper, the intended receiver. And that takes us from 2nd to 3rd down.
I tell you, Brandon, this defense is playing with some confidence. Haven't allowed a point yet. Flying to the football. I'm telling you, someone's 11 to the ball on every snap. Another nice job there forcing the completion.
Now they face a 3rd down and 4 after that incompletion on 2nd down. Here's Mayfield. They'll go screen here to Hunt. But he's able to pick up the first before he's brought down inside the 5 at the 4. Now the Packers going to burn their 3rd and final timeout as they'll stop the clock with 24 seconds to go in this first half. This is 1st and goal and a golden chance to get a score back here before halftime. They'll run with Chubb. And he goes backwards on this one. Losing yardage to the 7. A loss of 2 there. 2nd down. They'll throw now on the final play. He's got it out. It's his fullback. And we're going to get a timeout with 2 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. Big play forthcoming. Here's 3rd and goal. Throwing. Mayfield to the end zone, but it's incomplete.
Great defense, nigga. Great defense.
Return after the break. And we welcome you back now alongside Charles Davis operating gun, getting set for quarter number 3 here.
They can. You need to take this boy in your lab and teach him something.
This will be brought out from the middle of the end zone.
You need to learn both of them. Playing your boy Demon.
The Packer offense ready to get their next drive underway. And it's hard to imagine that the first half could have gone any better for them. So what's the approach here in the 2nd half?
Just continue to play smart football because they got the other team down and they feel good about the position they're in. The obvious thing people would say is just keep attacking, but I think you also have to be smart about it. Avoid turnovers. That's not the only thing that can derail you at this point. Attack, but make sure you take care of it.
Breezy. He called himself, his name is Demon, but he named himself Breezy. He have a different, yeah, he have a different name by next week sometime.
On play action, Rodgers sliding out of the pocket. Throw complete to the tight end, Tunyon. 8 yards on completion, but now they face 3rd down. He was out there waving his arms. When you got a quarterback out of the pocket looking for any help, I guess waving the arms is helpful.
It certainly is because you got to get his attention because now you're in scramble drill. So everyone's adjusting their routes, finding open space, and he found the right spot for the completion.
I need my round 2 to go. I hope you know it's almost, no, it's 12 o'clock, it's 12:20. When you leave, I need my round 2. be great. It'd be great too.
They'll try and run through with Jones. They only get 2 there, but on 3rd and 1, that's all they needed to keep the drive alive.
Hey, Lou, which one's the man to be? Go,
Keep on the ground with Jones. And this will be stopped at the 44. That one good for 7 yards. A good run got 7 on first. Here's 2nd and 3. The give is to Jones. And he'll be brought down just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. A gain of 5, good enough for the first down. Now they'll toss to Jones running left. Points the tackle. He's got room to run. And he'll be taken down right around the 41-yard line. 70 yards on the ground for him so far. The last run got 9. That leaves him with 2nd and a yard. Now Jones. And he's going to get it down to the 33-yard line here. That one a first down pickup of 8.
Looks to me like maybe there's a little...
Y'all see what I'm doing to this boy, man?
So 1st and 10. If they score on this drive, might have to start digging in their second half blowout material. On play action, it's Rodgers. Throw right side. This is in the hands of the tight end.
28 nothing.
I haven't played man like that no more.
Hey. Hey man, who next, man? Who next? Anybody else? Anybody else up? I'll see you wasting my motherfucking time.
You off?
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow. I was off today.
What the fuck you been on there, man?
I was trying to get everybody back in the group, man, because it seemed like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody been gone on me.
Is this a different party?
No. Remember you had changed the party name to the tournament that was coming. But I have to work, man. If I gotta work, then dude, it's like shit. Hell, listen, man, no, man. telling you. I take care of special needs people, man, like in wheelchairs and shit like that, bro. Like CNA. Like CNA shit. Yeah. You wipe ass. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When I look at my checks are sweet.
I don't know, you just popped up on my phone. You looked at me, you had the big ass smile on your face. What the fuck y'all talking about?
You talking about wiping ass. I say my checks be sweet about that wiping that ass. If you see what my checks look like, nigga, you'll wipe ass all day, nigga. Well, I don't wipe ass like that all day.
You don't need to wipe no ass, you just need to wax some.
What?
I said wax something. I didn't say wipe nothing.
They talking about when I work at it. When I wipe ass.
Well, he might wipe that ass for that check, but that check sweet. I need him to get off this gas so he can wax something.
No, man.
It's called a shower and shower head.
Shower, bro. Shower. You put them in the shower, bro. That's what I do.
And make them do
they
it.
They get one shower, dog, and that's it. I just sat there watching. Give me a rag. I give them a rag and let them do it.
It's called assisted living. That means we helping your ass learn how to
What you mean? Well, it's a lot of shit you do for money, motherfucker.
God damn it, he got another thing to do for money too. I hope he already dip out the game.
It don't matter what kind of job you do doing it for money, right?
Well, he need to hurry up.
I'm not wiping assholes for. I'm not wiping assholes, bro. Let's get that right. No, I'm not. No.
No, he got one he need to wax.
They clean their own ass, bro. I just gotta watch it. Listen, I gotta watch them and make sure they do what they supposed to do, bro. If they don't, then I gotta help them. Yeah. That means I gotta clean it. I gotta wipe the ass.
Shit, for $20 an hour, I wipe some nigga ass too.
But understand this here. I'm teaching them how to do it for themselves.
No, they young.
That's like, listen, man.
They not old.
No, the young was.
They're like 18, 19 years old.
The young was already. They do their own shit.
These kids have been tortured by their parents and had no choice but to
come in.
Was living in cages and eating dog food.
Yeah. And the state took them away from their peoples.
And now the state got custody of it. The only thing they do is put them in assisted living.
No, they couldn't live in that environment that they was living in.
Because the parents didn't know how to take care of them, so they treat them like fucking pets.
Yeah, many of them that was staying in basements and shit, and they wouldn't let them come out the basement and all
keep them in cages, feeding them dog food and shit
like that. So when you got people,
I need somebody to have their cock out.
When you got people like that right there,
he also vaccinated.
Hey, listen, man. Can you imagine if that was one of your people? Would you talk like that? If that was one of your peoples, would you talk like that? Just think about it. So you got to think about the good and not the bad. If it was one of your peoples, would you like for somebody to talk like that about your peoples?
What was your grandma when she had dementia? What?
Okay,
What
then.
was for your grandma
Okay,
when she
then.
had dementia and she had to go to somewhere like that, assisted living?
And somebody had to take care of her.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All right.
I'm just.
Okay.
Hey.
Oh no, you should hear his patience. That shit be funny as fuck.
My patience.
They want to talk to me.
My patients cuss your ass out all day. They cuss your ass out.
They cuss him out, but
Well,
when
I got one that's like he's off the chain.
You be like, tell that girl, tell her, I give you my Marilyn Monroe picture, and you tell your girl to come see me. I want her. And then they be like, hey, Jerome cheat. He cheat on you. He cheat. You gonna come see me for my birthday? He cheating. They been doing his ass dirty. They be like, then they be like, fuck you. Leave it alone. Fuck you. Get out my face.
Hey man, who next, Mike? Ken don't got mad, bro.
Boy, I be on the phone, I be rolling. That shit be funny. No, he got one name. What is it?
Y'all hold up real quick. I'm about to go over here and get this chump over here and beat him to death.
He 18. He 20. 21, baby. Ain't it?
Tampa boy, your bitch ass ran from me, nigga. Think I wasn't gonna find your bitch ass? Huh? He said what? He got his headphones on? He took them off?
He helped me go to sleep.
So why he? Oh, he ain't in the party? I came over here looking for that nigga. Tell him Patriot came looking for him.
You helped me go to sleep, please. You helped me go to sleep.
Huh?
You helped me go to sleep.
That ain't nobody help you go to sleep. That don't never help your ass go to sleep.
I'll rape your ass.
It's gonna give your ass some energy.
I'll fucking rape you. No, at night it'll put me to sleep when I'm tired. In the morning it give me energy. I will fucking rape you. You help me go to sleep, please.
Alright, in a little bit.
Fuck the little bit. It's fucking almost 1 o'clock in the goddamn morning. You
Ain't
tripping.
no 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's 12:33.
It's early.
Early to you, motherfucker. You don't sleep. Come on, I'll be late enough. I already don't get my midnight or my morning 11. And I'm sacrificing this shit. For the greater good. But I need you to really give me my shit, though. Sir?
I got your ice. Where my cup at?
That ain't my ice.
Uh-huh.
No, they all the same.
No, I got the big ice. You got
And
that
I got
crunch.
big ice, too.
No, you don't. You got that
thought
crunch
I
up
had
shit.
chopped up ice. I got big ice, too.
Your shit is right here. This is chopped up ice. See?
Oh, what?
Where my big ice at?
You fucked up.
Where my big ice at?
It's been you. I need you want to drink some liquor tonight.
You don't took my damn chopped big ice.
Oh, you live. Anyways, please help me. It's gonna take you about 15 minutes. You'll be okay. I time you every time. It takes 15 minutes. Go get some quick popcorn. Go let me get ski, squirt. And then you go ahead and play your video game. Then you go on and do your thing. You go to sleep. Go to sleep. Fuck this shit. Bye. I don't need you. I got it. Don't worry about it. Leave. I'm going to bed, goddamn. I'm going to bed the good way. Not the bad one. No water. No. Damn it. Damn it, I just spilled my water on the floor.
Put a taco there.
No, I'm not going to talk about something.
Ball players ain't good enough.
That was fucked up already.
What was that?
Don't fucking worry about it. Look here. Play your game, do your thing, and I'll see you in the morning. Other than that, you don't want to help me, I help my goddamn self. Don't see me when you know who come on and you have to wait for 3 days, 4 days. That's gonna be on you.
Oh, that call is good.
I need to lay down. I lose focus. You want help? I got it. Now, I do this shit when you ain't here anyway. I try to. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. It's boring. Does he just... Big Kid just raps all the time, don't he? I know that's exactly who that fucking is.
Yep.
I know. Can I ask one question, baby?
What?
Big Kid. Big Kid. How old are you?
Big Ken, yeah, remember I showed you.
Big Ken. Big Ken. How old are you?
That's not.
You ain't Big Ken. Shut up. I've been walking with this dude for a year. I think I know his voice. For real, Big Ken, how old are you? He's still rapping. He gotta be young. Like his 20s or 30s.
Big Ken probably in.
Or is he our age? No, he young.
Ken way younger than that. About in his 20s something.
No, it's like he's that young.
Late 20s.
It's not old. All I asked is how old you was. That's all. You ain't no fucking 72. Shut the fuck. Bye. Oh. That's why he rap like that.
Respect the champ, nigga. Pucker, 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 pucker. What school you go to, Big Hand? What school you going to, Big Hand? It didn't matter. Them motherfuckers won. Deion Sanders them won. Man, don't be disrespectful to prime time. Nah, I mean he made some mistakes down there with them 2 turnovers. He did that. They're gonna beat everybody. They're gonna beat everybody. They got a great defense. Great defense with championships, right? Quarterback has time to make up, bro. You think Deion Sanders ain't gonna? They pretty good. They got a damn show good defense. Okay, well we're gonna find out about that shit. Yeah. If y'all don't score no points, how y'all gonna win? Man, you gotta realize who Deion Sanders got over there. Man, they got motherfuckers from Auburn. They got some motherfuckers that have transferred from different colleges, nigga. No, nigga. They got motherfuckers that transferred from Auburn, Alabama. They got motherfuckers on their team, bro. And what you mean? Them motherfuckers ain't scoring them, did they? They ain't scoring that defense, did they? On their cornerbacks. I don't want to hear that bullshit, man. No, if you don't put no touchdowns on the board, you can't win. That ain't got nothing to do with it. That ain't got nothing to do with defense. Man, Deion Sanders is going undefeated, bro. And soon when that quarterback kick in, because Deion gonna be working that quarterback this week. They going undefeated, but ain't who gonna beat them. I got my Jackson State shirt. They got who? What they got to do with it? What you mean? Hey, everybody know about Jackson State. Yeah, he really gonna blow him up now. Cause he got so many motherfuckers coming over there now. Everybody wanna play for prime time. Deion Sanders, nigga. You realize what I'm saying? When you say Deion Sanders, dog, everybody wanna go play for Deion, bro. Everybody wanna get part of that. Okay. You gonna find out about that. Well, if you play for Deion, when you play for Deion and you prime time, you showing out, nigga, you going to the National Football League, like it or not, bruh. Believe that. Huh? Like it or not, you going to the National Football League, bruh. That's like playing for Nick Saban. Your ass going to the National Football League, nigga. Huh? Who?
Jackson State offensive coordinator was at a high school.
Why would they hire offensive coordinator from high school? Terrell Owens, all of them. Yeah, come on, man. Let's be real. They've been around. They know coach. They know how to coach though. They've been around coaches. What that mean? Just because he's from high school, he don't know how to coach? Yeah, what you trying to tell me? So you trying to tell me just because he came from high school, that means he don't know how to coach? You ain't got no choice if he come up there and coach you. No, you can't tell that man shit. If that man come up there, you a player, you gotta do exactly what the fuck he tell you. You okay there? You good?
I'm good. Oh shit. The bed ain't though.
You done turned that shit up.
The bed ain't though.
Huh?
The bed ain't straight. The bed ain't straight at all.
What's you did to the bed?
Oh, what I did this morning.
You made a big mess over there?
They wouldn't give it to me. I was already on it, so they just.
Wow.
Yeah.
God damn, girl.
Well, I asked you to do it, but you didn't want to. It's your fault. You could experience the madness. You didn't want the madness. That's 3 times. No, no bed for it. So I asked, but I ain't gonna beg for it. Yep, so the bed is fucking gone. Now we're dry. I don't have to be on bed towel. I asked you, but you don't want to. You know, the boys can be more than I do. You don't come over here for me, you just come over here for boys. You have fun with the boys. Take these shits on my ear. Turn my computer off. Turn this off. Okay, and turn the turn it up and color light. Let's stop. Back in the game. Phone safe and secure. Nobody knows what I do on my phone. Beautiful, beautiful. That's just life. Anyways. Good night. Good night. Wish it could have been you. Yep. The boys mean more. The boys mean more than your horny ass old woman. Who said that? You just literally let me do what I did. Porno.
You said.
And told me I had to wait.
No, I didn't.
You did. You said
you was about to please yourself.
You said
okay.
You said a fucking
I'm about to
minute.
please myself.
But you said in a minute. Who the fuck tell a woman that is ready to go to wait a minute?
Did you not say you were gonna please yourself? Said you didn't need me at time?
No. I said, fuck that. I'm not waiting on you. And I'm going to do what I do when you're not here. So, that's what I said. You're here, but I'm going to act like you're not here. Even though I want what I want. But fuck it, man. I do what I do when you're not home. No, I'm going to bed. I got to wake up early. So I'm going to wake me up at 5:30. Baby's in there listening to lullaby music because Bree and Daisy didn't want to fucking go sleep. I ain't having.
Daisy stayed up.
I know. No,
Daisy slept.
She woke up this morning. Nope. Daisy woke up when Night woke up this morning. Brielle woke up when Night woke up this morning. Brielle chose to stay up, but Brain gave Brielle the phone. Daisy woke up for a couple minutes, then went back there in the back room, back there where Rain at. And then she got up under the covers and she fell asleep again. She slept through the rain. You gotta understand, she's still a baby. She's still 4.
Daisy was asleep for a long time.
I'm gonna say, yeah, Daisy was asleep for a long time because of the rain. But she woke up this morning.
Oh, she did?
Yes, she did. She woke up this morning. Yes, she did. When I woke up, Night of, she woke up this morning. But she went back to sleep. She crawled up under the rain. Because I ain't wake Rain up yet. She crawled up under the rain and she fell back to sleep. She woke up, she spoke to me and everything. And she went back down and she fell asleep with Rain. Because Rain was still in the bed. But Brielle stayed up because Rain gave Brielle her phone. But Rain said she didn't have no charge on her phone, so she didn't take her phone with her today. You gotta be asleep by now.
Huh?
You gotta be asleep by now. You think about them Google speakers? No? You think about them Google speakers?
Yeah.
I ain't get out the bed till the minute. Look. I really got everything raising. All 3 Google Nest speakers. I got them all on this phone. See?
All the speakers?
I got all 3 of them. Well, I got 2 right now because it's only 2 connected right now. My 3rd one ain't connected, but I got all 3 speakers. You see, the other one is playing music. What I do is turn them off. Stop it. See? No music. If I think they sleep, I can turn all this shit off. Or I can put a timer on this shit. Where they can't listen to music at all. They just go to bed. Or I can give everybody their own kind of music they like to listen to go to bed. Just put this shit on. Right from the comfort of my own phone. I ain't got to get out to bed at all. I can talk to the kids too. I'm not getting out to bed either, but They need physical contact because they hard as shit. That I understand. They are hard as hell. So they need physical contact. You literally got to sit there and watch the gas. I'm finally understanding that. Didn't understand it before, I understand now. Anyway, good night. It's 1 o'clock. I got 4 hours to wake up.
Oh, shit.
Every night I'm going to catch the bus in the morning. I got fucking 4 hours. Oh, I need to set the alarm different too, because 5 ain't gonna work. I mean, 5:30 ain't gonna work. I'm gonna wake them up in the morning. I gotta get up at 5. Just wish I had coffee or something to hype me up in the morning. Life is life. So I just wish I had some coffee or something to hype me up in the morning. I said, but life is life. That's what it is. So deal with it.
Ball alert.
I don't go to sleep like I'm supposed to, so I'll be drained as fucking morning. You put this shit on charge and at 4%.
Shit.
You can do this shit right now.
What?
I'm not gonna put my phone on the charge. 40% should last.
Stuff is just kids.
What is it? No, it's my stuff. It's for my nail kit. Are you sleeping here tonight? Are you sleeping here tonight? I don't think so. You just try to lay down for a minute.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I gotta ship this sweat off to that boy. He's been waiting on that shit. No, keep it on. If you need it, I ain't finna do it no time soon. Yeah?
Huh?
I said I ain't finna do it no time soon, but if you need it, you use it. Remember, I gotta get it back to him. It was his birthday stuff too, my game for his money stamp for his birthday. I need to plug my Google. I haven't plugged my Google speaker up in a minute. It got an alarm on it too, but it just
What?
my Google speaker has an alarm on it too. It's not loud enough. The bitch still got them soft. Huh?
You got one on like that.
No, they all like that. They all have alarms on. All 3 of them. They're just so soft that you can't fucking hear them. They really soft. I literally did not set the alarm on my cell phone and then tried to set the alarm on my Google, and depending on my Google, to wake me up, and I didn't hear that bitch because I was so knocked out. Like I was dead asleep, and I did not hear that Google because it was so fucking soft. I'm thinking this shit gon' like, you know what I mean, bling out like the music does, right? No, that alarm was soft as hell. I guess I gotta tell it what kind of alarm to put on, because it's just like our cell phone, but I just gotta find out the names of the alarms, I guess, or I gotta set it in the app or some shit. I don't know. I don't know which one. I just know that alarm was like low as shit. And I was like, how the fuck was I supposed to hear that?
With the timeless protection of ADT, it's safe to say, hey Google, unlock the front door. When you help save me.
On this Labor Day weekend, no rest for the weary. Crews are hard at work cleaning up from the deadly flooding that Ida caused. And new video shows the dangers rescuers face at the height of the crisis. NYPD officers in chest-deep water in Woodside, Queens. They submerge themselves into those murky waters, desperately searching for a couple and their 2-year-old child missing in a basement apartment. Unfortunately, that family would not survive the floods. The number of people who died is at 43. And 4 people are still missing in New Jersey tonight. A memorial happening now for 2 victims.
This is total. It was 83 people.
Both were computer science professors at Iona College. While another memorial is just getting underway in Harlem from mother and son who died in Newport Waters today. This morning's Adam Harding is there and starts off our coverage. Adam?
Good evening to you. Those two victims, long-standing members of this homeless community here. They lived here for 10 years. You can see family members just now starting to arrive as they are lighting candles. They're set to be a vigil and a press conference here in just a matter of minutes.
All I do is.
But I didn't think I had that big of a goddamn release. I kept saying round 2 like all fucking day. So I kept saying round 2 all goddamn day.
Coming together in the aftermath of Ida. This is where a mother
I was waiting for round 2.
We couldn't do that.
I knew because you were playing the game and then you had to go fire ring. And then I had to go in there with them trees. That's why we couldn't do round 2. You tried to put that pressure on me.
What pressure?
The pressure I wanted inside of me a long time ago. You gonna try to put it in me? With your clothes on? It didn't work.
My daughter described everything I lost in
The cleanup all throughout Queens going strong 4 days after the storm.
We're very concerned that this could happen again. And right now there's not an even way to block the door. And it came through and under the door. It broke the garage door, broke the entry door. And she has a sump pump, but it did absolutely nothing.
Tonight, the NYPD releasing new body camera video from a flooded basement apartment. Watch as an officer goes underwater, the murky conditions cutting down visibility. A teddy bear seen floating by. A 2-year-old little boy and his parents tragically did not survive.
The heavens broke loose. The city was overwhelmed. The streets couldn't handle the flow of the rivers. People were, their lives were in danger.
Today, Governor Hochul says she signed a request to the president for an expedited major disaster declaration ahead of his visit Tuesday.
For me, this is very emotional. I went to those homes. I saw where people lived. I saw how they had no escape route when they lived in a basement home. It was their home. It wasn't large, it wasn't fancy, but this was their home.
Basement.
And those two victims here behind us lived in a basement apartment that just became inundated with those flash floods late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Again, coming behind us, the family and community members now gathering. This is set to take place in just a couple of minutes.
Why would you have the woman and her two-year-old baby staying in your basement? Why wasn't living upstairs? Didn't the woman say that was her daughter? Why wasn't it living upstairs?
I am Dad Blue of Fresh Mommy Blog, and I'm so excited today to be working with Baby Center and Graco to try out their new Slim Fit 3 car seats. I have 6 kids, 3 of which are still in car seats, and the Slim Fit 3, in 95% of family vehicles, you can put 3 across right in the back seat. Also, it's a 3-in-1 car seat. You can start with rear facing, switch to forward facing, and then convert to a booster. So let's get into it. So I put the car seat up on a seat so we can play with it a little more, and you can see right here is the recline. So when you pull this forward, here you have a seat that reclines for a rear facing infant car seat. It can sit up for your forward facing car seat, still using the harness, and then of course, as you need it for a booster, you'll use this, and then use it with your seatbelt as well. There are a couple other little features that I personally think were
The headlines out of Louisiana today are blunt and unsparing. This is from the Associated Press. Ida's sweltering aftermath. No power, no water, no gasoline. Here's the Lafayette Daily Advertiser. Quote, do not return here. Louisiana governor warns Ida has destroyed critical infrastructure. Here's one from the New Orleans Times-Picayune, an advocate. Quote, leave, absolutely, if you can. Jefferson, meaning Jefferson Parish officials, warn of grueling weeks ahead after Ida. Jefferson Parish borders New Orleans to the west and to the south. It stretches all the way down to the barrier island of Grand Isle, which is right next to where Hurricane Ida made landfall on Sunday. In Jefferson Parish, search and rescue operations are still underway as we speak. And Jefferson Parish is facing the same problem as all of its neighboring parishes, no electricity, which means no air conditioning as heat indices rise above 100 degrees this week. It means no refrigeration for food, which quickly becomes a crisis in most homes. It also means spotty communications. There's also no running water in most of Jefferson Parish because of both water main breaks caused by storm damage and because the sewage systems rely on electricity, which doesn't exist right now. More than 1 million homes and businesses remain without power in Louisiana. It could be weeks before all of it is restored. And people are turning to generators for temporary sources of power, but those come with their own dangers. Carbon monoxide poisoning from poorly ventilated generators is a frequent killer in the aftermath of hurricanes. In Kenner, in Jefferson Parish last night, 2 residential buildings burned to the ground. That's a fire the local fire chief said he suspects was caused by a generator. Thankfully, no one was hurt or killed. The New York Times is now reporting that New Orleans officials have not ruled out a post-storm evacuation of the city because the aftermath is growing so dire for residents who are still there. Officials in Lafourche Parish announced today that residents are allowed to return there, but they spelled out in brutal detail why they probably shouldn't, even if they can. Quote, please know there is no clean water access. There is no power in the parish. It will not be restored for some time. Nearly all communication is down, including cell phone service parish-wide. Your home may be severely damaged and uninhabitable. We do not have access to food at this time due to the amount of damaged stores. So please bring all supplies you need to self-sustain while you are here. Again, that warning today from Lafourche Parish. It's just a very difficult situation in Louisiana right now. Not clear how long things might stay this way. Joining us now is the Director of Emergency Operations for Jefferson Parish, Joe Valiente. Ms. Valiente, thank you so much for making time. I know it's a really busy and difficult time for your parish right now.
Not a problem. I'm glad to be on.
Can you tell us an overall briefing on the situation in Jefferson Parish, how things are in Grand Isle, how things are in other communities in the parish, and whether you, in fact, have definitive information about every corner of the parish or whether that damage assessment continues?
So let's start with Grand Isle first. So Grand Isle took the brunt of the storm, and it had a tremendous storm surge, and it had some of the highest winds that it's experienced in quite a while. I mean, last year we experienced 7 storms and 6 activations, but they were pretty much all glancing blows. This one really hit us head on and did a tremendous amount of damage. We just made it to the island today with a rescue crew on a search and rescue mission, and they reported that the island is devastated. It is totally uninhabitable. There's 3 to 6 feet of sand that was washed up from the Gulf on the entire island. And they have no power, they have no cell phone communication. So we are staging supplies now so that we can set up for a recovery process, but that's certainly going to take a while. And then also you have Lafitte, which took a tremendous amount of water up to 10 to 15 feet. And though that community is typically a little more resilient and higher off the ground, they suffered a tremendous amount of damage. We are staging supplies for both areas, and we are moving forward slowly, but we're being hampered by the fact that we suffer with low water pressure, number one. Number two, we've lost 100% of our power grid. So we are completely without power. So that's causing issues like gas shortages. There's nowhere to buy any food. We have a large segment of the population did not evacuate. And so now we're struggling with exactly how that we're going to deal with this portion of the population. We're advising all residents in Upper Jefferson Parish to seek shelter in another state or outside of this area, because it is going to be a while before we can restore the services that are necessary for everyday living.
In terms of those conditions that you're describing, that's just unimaginably dire. In terms of people who did not evacuate, is it your estimation that there may have to be, I don't know if it's going to be mandatory or not, but some sort of post-storm major evacuation effort? Those conditions that you were describing not only sound uninhabitable now, but they seem uninhabitable for many days, potentially weeks or months ahead. If there are people in those communities who are piecing it together in these first couple of days, will there be an effort to clear them out?
So to be totally honest with you, we are beginning to think post-Katrina now, where it doesn't look like we're going to get a quick recovery in terms of infrastructure, in terms of water, drainage. Storage is a big problem for us, because without power, you can't keep your storage lines cleaned out. So we are thinking in that direction, and I think the longer that this goes, the high temperatures that are predicted for the next week, it's going to make living conditions virtually unbearable. We have started taking special needs cases and bringing them to a shelter where they're triaged, and then they're being taken to a special needs shelter in Baton Rouge. So we're moving in that direction, but it really is baby steps, because we are on total generator power, and we're just very limited at this point as to how hard we can lean forward and address these issues.
The aftermath that you're describing and the kind of scale of effort that you're talking about putting into effect now is going to have to be a very resource-intensive effort. Do you have resources coming in? Do you have the right kind of communication with not just state resources but federal resources in terms of scaling up to do the kinds of remediation that you're talking about? We're talking about a lot of people needing to be moved and taken care of in a place that has very little resources to offer of its own. Are the right communication lines open, and do you feel like you have a way to tap the resources you need?
So let me say, from a political standpoint of view, the response has been excellent. We've had a tremendous amount of support from Congressman Carter and from Senator Richmond, who you know is a major advisor for President Biden. Also, Senator Cassidy and Steve Scalise was here today. So they have been extremely supportive of our entire effort. And Steve Scalise actually brought a large megawatt generator that's going to help us with our storage plant and make that particular aspect of our infrastructure more resilient. I am truly impressed at the level of response that we've gotten from the federal government overall. And that goes for state GOSEP too, and from the Governor John Bell Edwards. I think they've been in constant communication with us on a daily basis.
I can't tell you how comforting it is to not have to even pay attention to the party affiliation of any of those officials as you're running down, hearing that you've been getting such support from everybody. We're so divided on so many things, but on this, everybody pulling together. Joe Valiente, Jefferson Parish Director of Emergency Management. Sir, sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving us opportunity to get our message out there. And we have to have emergency management has to have an excellent relationship with the news media. And so you provide the platform for us to help us get our message out there.
Well, we're happy to tell the story, but the challenges that you are up against right now, sir, we don't envy you. God bless you, and all those who are working with you will stay up with this, and we'll stay on the story. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rachel.
Oh,
It is my great pleasure to welcome everyone to Sanders Theater for our opening event of this bicentennial celebration. Mr. Chief Justice, Justice Kennedy, Justice Breyer, Justice Kate.
The headlines out of Louisiana today are blunt and unsparing. This is from the Associated Press. Ida's sweltering aftermath. No power, no water, no gasoline. Here's the Lafayette Daily Advertiser. Quote, do not return here. Louisiana governor warns Ida has destroyed critical infrastructure. Here's one from the New Orleans Times-Picayune and Advocate. Quote, leave, absolutely, if you can. Jefferson, meaning Jefferson Parish officials, warn of grueling weeks ahead after Ida. Jefferson Parish borders New Orleans to the west and to the south. It stretches all the way down to the barrier island of Grand Isle, which is right next to where Hurricane Ida made landfall on Sunday. In Jefferson Parish, search and rescue operations are still underway as we speak. And Jefferson Parish is facing the same problem as all of its neighboring parishes, no electricity, which means
3 signs you are addicted to stress. Sign 1, you can't stop scrolling.
I kept staying up way too late scrolling Twitter and Instagram. With calm, I'm asleep 10 minutes into a sleep.
We have too many areas where the flooding has gotten so bad, the cars are stuck and we have bodies underwater. We are now retrieving bodies.
Nearly 60 dead across 8 states.
It's something unreal. I never seen something like this before. The water came out within 5 minutes, like 4 feet, real fast.
We saw a horrifying storm last night, unlike anything we have seen before. And this is a reality we have to face. But what we've got to recognize is the suddenness, the brutality of storms now. It is different.
Since before Ida made landfall, we were warning about this cold front meeting up with the remnants and causing life-threatening flash flooding. Unfortunately, whenever I see flash flooding in a forecast that I'm making, I know that life will be at least threatened, if not lost.
Holy... It wasn't just rain and flooding. At least 7 confirmed tornadoes hitting the Philadelphia area and southern New Jersey.
Look at that tornado! We were down there about 15 minutes before when the warning went off, and we have a walk-up basement, luckily, so we were able to get out through that, thank God. If not, we would not have been able to get out.
In Philadelphia, where more than 10 inches of rain fell, the National Guard using high water vehicles to assist the Philadelphia Fire Department in rescues downtown, including some from a hotel. It's just brutal, just kept coming. Water levels just rose so fast.
They are reporting that they were inundated with 8 feet of water inside the fire headquarters itself, and it prevented their ability to get out and respond here in the neighborhood.
One of those caught in the storm, Shakira Davis, capturing how fast the water rose behind her Oakwood Plaza home.
This is serious damage.
Even though her apartment wasn't flooded, Shakira and her 2 kids and 3 grandkids were forced to evacuate along with hundreds of others.
We got a knock on the door. They just telling us to evacuate. That the building wasn't stable. That everybody has to leave.
Then they waited for hours for school buses to take them to a temporary shelter. With no outside resources, volunteers had to come up with a plan, a place, and a way for getting them there.
This is ridiculous. We need somewhere to go. And we can't do this. This is too much.
It was just 4 days ago when Ida first made landfall in southern Louisiana, but the aftermath from this monster storm still upending lives across that state. Neighborhoods like this turned into swamps. Many roads submerged.
From the air, you can see just how many neighborhoods suffered catastrophic water damage.
With the power still out for most and very little water and food, long lines stretching for miles to get gas to power generators. How long have you been waiting in this line, Michelle?
Oh, since about 2 o'clock, maybe slightly before.
So almost 3 hours.
There's maybe, one or two gas stations that are open, but the lines are long. You go sit in line, you don't know if you're going to get gas.
This is the first time I ride out a storm where it was this bad.
For Estelle Soleil, that's just one of the questions she's facing. The Bayou, the only home she's ever known, looks a lot different today.
That's my dining room. It's starting to smell. It's moldy. All the windows are just about completely busted out.
She'd written out this storm at her parents' house about 10 miles away because she thought it would be safer. Soon enough, water began leaking from the ceiling.
These are some of the pictures I had to hurry up and get off the wall at my parents' house when the roof started leaking.
Estelle had been without water and power since Ida hit, but she considers herself lucky. A nearby neighbor's home was completely demolished.
You have no choice but to start crying.
Just down the road from Estelle's house, the city of Homa, suffering severe damage and in desperate need of supplies and resources, many residents there without food and water.
The devastation I witnessed in Homa right after the storm as we got out was immeasurable. We saw things that I've never really seen before.
Chad Ducote, lead pastor of Life Church, has been gathering supplies and working with organizations to set up distribution of desperately needed goods.
We have more need than we have supplied for. We'll get an 18-wheeler truck full of supplies in, and it's gone within 30 minutes or so.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations. The church was expecting a shipment of new supplies today, but nothing made it through.
No more food or nothing. Need water, we need ice, we need a whole bunch of stuff.
Ducote says one thing he knows he can count on in catastrophic times like this is that neighbors will be helping neighbors.
I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that we will overcome this and we will persevere through this storm and we will rebuild to be better for it.
It's not just the eastern United States facing the consequences of climate change and extreme weather. Drought and wildfires are plaguing the western United States. The Caldor fire has destroyed nearly 600 homes in California's Lake Tahoe area. More than 50,000 people have been displaced from their homes, and roads are clogged as mandatory evacuations spread to Nevada. Firefighters there are continuing to battle the wildfires, and though the fire is now 20% contained, they say they're still not in the clear yet.
There is still stumps burning, there's still other things out there burning, and they are still kicking out embers. So even though it doesn't look like a big firefight here, there's still plenty of work for the firefighters to make sure that those embers don't kick out and start the fire up again.
Caldor is just the latest wildfire sweeping across this harsh landscape. There have been more than 7,000 reported fires in California alone this year, with more than 90 active fires reported statewide, now according to the National Interagency Fire Center.
We are seeing these extremes more often. And if that's not the classic calling card of climate change, I don't know what is. And so this will be our new reality. I think the real question is not how much havoc did it cause, what are we going to prepare for the next time we get havoc?
And back east, for those displaced like Shakira Davis, it's been an emotional day.
We do not know where we're sleeping tonight. Hopefully we're not sleeping in the school, but hopefully we have a bed to sleep in somewhere.
4 residents of their complex died, and although they've seen flooding before, what they encountered last night was traumatic.
I know a lot of people in there that doesn't feel relief right now. They want to be in their apartments. We don't know what to do. We're just confused. We're confused, we're angry, and we just want to be in our houses right now.
Looking ahead, she only sees more uncertainty from her and her family. For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
USAA is made for the safe pilots, like Matt, who can cover the stop with barely a bomb. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Reiser in for Allison Moore.
Morris. You're watching NBC News Now. Here's what's happening.
Shit.
You lay in bed at night and you go, oh my god, I didn't grab that. Oh my god, I forgot this.
Thinking of all the things that are still in there, you know. Even though they're just things, there's a lot of personal.
Trail of damage. Remnants of Ida producing tornadoes and record rains from the south to the northeast as the death toll from the storm climbs.
I have been, continue to be, a strong supporter of Roe v. Wade. The most pernicious thing about the Texas law is sort of creates a vigilante system.
Abortion bill backlash from the White House to Congress. Democrats are rallying to protect Roe v. Wade following a restrictive new abortion law in Texas. So what's next in the legal fight for abortion rights?
We want to do it before we went there. This is a new frontier in entertainment.
And here we go again. Iconic Swedish pop band ABBA back with new music and plans for a concert for the first time in decades. What do you need to know? Let your inner dancing queen out. We begin in New Jersey following catastrophic damage from Ida. 25 people have died in the state alone. MSNBC anchor Yasmin Vasugian is in one town where residents are recovering from historic flooding and are just now getting a first-hand look at the damage. Lindsay, so I'm in Manville, New Jersey, which is about an hour outside of New York City. They had an extreme amount of flooding here. The water just receding tonight. Today, a lot of folks weren't able to return to their homes until today because there was a combination of both high tide and all the amounts of water that they had here. This area is actually surrounded on three sides by water, so you got two rivers and a stream as well. They've dealt with a lot of flooding here before, but nothing to this level, nothing to this extreme. Throughout the town, we've seen some homes that have caught fire, blown up because of the combination of water and electrical and gas. We saw a wedding hall down the street as well that is no longer completely incinerated because of that deadly combination. And then we're seeing homes like this, where the foundation has completely collapsed on itself. Vincent, the owner of this home, said he was actually in the basement when the foundation collapsed, trying to rescue his dogs, bring them upstairs. He was so scared he had to scramble to get upstairs. His dogs made it to safety. And then his family, his three kids, his wife's father, and him, and the dogs were able to get out safely, thank God, by canoes, by boat, because the water levels were just so high. But I mean, you can tell this home is going to be uninhabitable for quite some time, and who knows what type of residual damage there is because of these persistent water levels. And a lot of folks obviously asking the question of what next. This state alone had 25 deaths. From what we know in this town of Manville, everybody was able to stay safe, keep their lives intact, thankfully, but nonetheless, their belongings gone, their houses completely ruined, not sure where they're going to go. And while the bigger conversation is happening of climate change and infrastructure and reforms that need to be done to keep people safe and keep this from happening again, the local conversations are, where do I live? Where are my kids going to go to school? And how do we recover any of this? Lindsay, so a devastating time for a lot of folks living here right now. President Biden is touring storm-ravaged Louisiana by land and by air today. NBC News reporter Von Hilliard is in Houma, Louisiana. So Von, President Biden taking an aerial tour of the hardest hit areas in Louisiana. He also spoke with reporters as he was touring LaPlace. What did he say?
Yeah, President Biden is spending multiple hours here on the ground across the greater New Orleans area. We're in Houma, Louisiana, but the president right now is currently in LaPlace, which is about 55 miles north of us, as well as north of New Orleans, which just speaks to the scope of this storm here. He's talking about not only the environmental impact, but he's talking about infrastructure, roads, bridges, essentially the entire system we are watching now when we're talking about a congressional piece of legislation that is intended to shore up the very type of infrastructure that we have seen be faulty here, particularly when we're talking about power. You know, there are still nearly 1 million people without power here across the greater New Orleans area here.
Need their lives to stay stress-free and not have to yell and scream and holler all the time. That's mental health right there. Oh, you're gonna be the happiest person at work tomorrow. Hey everybody, how you doing? Good. Kids ready? Hey kids, come on, let's go to school. You better fall asleep in it. You gonna fall asleep in it, I'm gonna fall asleep with it. Let's go to bed.
Right up in there.
Hmm?
Those all right up in there.
I said, just, we might as well just go ahead. Go, get up. There you go. Just, there you go. Might as well just go ahead and call it a night. You can stay just like this, just because you want to double pump in the morning.
Double pump in the morning?
There you go. Hey, you can't have no more kids, so shit. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Oh, shit. I'm not flexible ass. Do this real quick. Oh. Boy, I tell you. Oh. You come through when I need you to come through now.
Oh, you're still up in there like.
Yeah, you stay there.
I'm not going nowhere.
This is my woman. You keep me from my woman. We went from 3 times to nothing at all. And then when we do something, I don't want to go.
There's been some frustration because they're in need, and today is day number 6. The National Guard behind us, they've been trying their best to help dispense with the supplies that they do have, but ultimately this comes down to the state and the federal response in order to get those to supplies into communities like this here. So many folks have been told, come back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., but when we got here this morning, literally there were hundreds of cars already lined up at sunrise, and just a few blocks down the way from here, gas is the other issue, and the president was speaking to this effort to try to get oil into this area here because so many of those refineries are still not functioning in the main port here. The main oil and gas port here off of this Gulf Coast is still not operational either here, and you are seeing not only gas pumps closed off, but also higher gas prices. This is a tough situation that these individuals are going to be looking at in the weeks ahead here, Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like since the last time we talked to you, that ice pile has now dwindled by half just in the last few minutes here. How are people holding up there in the struggle to get just basic supplies?
Yeah, I actually just want to introduce you to one man, Clarence Scott Jr., who is one of those individuals who drove up here a little frustrated by what he could not initially get and more so by what he needs now 6 days out. Take a listen.
I need tubs for my roof. I got 1,700 square foot of living area. So how many tubs y'all give me? I appreciate it.
Did you lose your roof?
Yes, all my chickens gone. And my wooden fence around my house, all that's flat. And I don't have no water. Thank God I still got my light.
Just got a little bit damage on our apartment. We had to move to our mom's house. We got a little bit damage on our roof. We had to talk it up, but other than that, yeah, we know we're fine.
And how about water, food?
Water, we got a good bit back left at home. We scored one a couple minutes ago. We're gonna go run around and see where we can get some gas.
You just frankly can't supply enough equipment and needs, food and water to the folks here. When you're talking about a community here of Homa of more than 30,000 here, in which, you know, the nearest Home Depot that is open, Lindsay, 2 hours away, Baton Rouge here. You know, this is a situation in which literally everybody, restaurants, everything is closed here. And now it's just a matter of how quickly can the power turn on to begin to sort of become operational again at a very store, restaurant, ground-based level here for some of these people to try to be able to get the rest of their lives in order.
You know, Vaughn, something I noticed behind you that I just want to point out. These people are going through hell. Some of them don't have roofs, they don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have gas. And you see them saying thank you and putting their hand up to these National Guard members who are giving them these supplies, and there's still that sense of camaraderie and gratitude. It's really been incredible to watch during your report. Thanks, Vaughn.
Yeah, Lindsay.
People who live in New Orleans are hoping the president's visit will speed up relief from the crippling power outages and gas shortages. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster shows us what they're dealing with today.
USAA is made for the safe pilots, like Matt, who can come to a stop with barely a bomb. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
Hi there, Lindsay. Well, during the president's visit, we know he's been meeting with local officials. He'll get site surveys, and he's also doing an aerial tour of some of the southern areas that really got hit. One site that will be unavoidable are the lines that you see in the New Orleans area. This is at a gas station, a Costco gas station now. You see one of the lines here as folks wait to get gas, and I'll tell you, this is probably a shorter version of the line that we saw and the shorter version of lines that you'll see all throughout the city, not just at gas stations, but also outside of grocery stores. Also, as people wait for bags of ice in the area, those needs all stemming from the lack of power in this area, as many of people, about 700,000 people in this area are still without power, and that's according to the latest update that we got from the power companies this morning. Now, I spoke to some people as they were waiting for gas in line today, and I asked them, what do they want to hear? What do they want to tell the president during his trip here? Listen to what they told me.
You need to go down that Thibodeau home. Because that's all the people that saved us from Katrina. Kind of bad down there. Find a way to get gas supplies into town. You know, there are grocery stores around, but the ability to move yourself from safety, into safety from a dangerous situation, that's what we need. We need transportation.
Do what you can for us, it's not easy. Nobody's got an easy job here or anyone else. So don't politicize it, on both sides, and just do what you can to help folks. Lake Charles is still doing bad. They haven't gotten the help that they need. So they kind of opened your eyes and gives you some awareness of what's going on.
By the middle of next week. Now, it will be longer for some people in harder hit areas, but that at least is a marker that they've been able to make with the assessments that they have mostly completed at this point. But that still means it'll be a long weekend ahead for folks as they deal with what feels like triple-digit temperatures.
Well, many families are returning home to assess damage from Hurricane Ida. Some people never got the chance to leave. NBC News Now correspondent Isa Gutierrez takes a look at how difficult it can be to evacuate before a hurricane.
We just don't have the funds. We don't have the funds to stay anywhere else. We're barely making it trying to get some gas.
Ana Ramos was born and raised in Kenner, Louisiana, 15 minutes from downtown New Orleans.
I've been through all the hurricanes possible. For Hurricane Gustav, I had to evacuate pregnant, almost giving birth.
Wanting to evacuate before Hurricane Ida hit and being able to are two different situations.
Once we tried to book, we saw the cheapest I found was in Panama City, Florida, and it was $184 a night.
Something her family couldn't afford for a night, much less weeks if they couldn't get back home. Ana's story isn't unique.
My family, my pets, everybody is here, so, and where are we going to go? I mean, hotel rooms are full, houses are full.
I got a backpack with a few clothes in it. If I had to run out there somewhere, but I didn't know where. I don't know where.
But oftentimes, people who decide to stay during a dangerous hurricane get shamed.
The shaming and the sometimes very bad assumptions about why people behave in certain ways comes up after every single evacuation.
Law professor Michelle Dickerson says evacuation can be a complicated logistical undertaking that will
almost always lead back to money, resources, and to some extent, social capital. You have to have a lot of things that low-income and marginalized communities often don't have.
A lot goes into an evacuation decision.
I have an old car. My car is a 2008. So just mechanically, we keep up with it, but is it going to be able to get where we need to go?
And with a bad case of arthritis,
Houston from Kenner is about 5 or 6 hours. Plus, you have to add on 3 or 4 hours of travel because of traffic. I would not be able to travel so long like that.
Can your household afford lost wages from not showing up to work potentially for weeks? Are you caring for a critically ill loved one who can't move? Are you healthy enough to travel? Do you have pets? Do you have reliable transportation? Do you have enough money for gas, food, a hotel room?
When we say, well, why didn't they just evacuate? If all of those pieces aren't in place, the logistics of the evacuation process won't work.
Even the time of the month a hurricane hits can affect a person's decision to evacuate.
So one of the awful things that we've seen with Katrina, with Harvey, and now with Ida, they all hit at the end of the month. When people that live sort of from paycheck to paycheck, their paycheck may not hit again until today. Well, they needed to evacuate it several days ago, but if the money hasn't hit, they don't have the money to pay to evacuate.
At the end of the day, even if someone may want to evacuate, the decision may already be made for them.
Out west, one of California's most iconic vacation destinations is shut down this holiday weekend. South Lake Tahoe, practically a ghost town right now as the Calder fire burns in the area. The firefighters could get an upper hand over the next few days thanks to some favorable weather conditions. Here's NBC News correspondent Jake Ward from South Lake Tahoe.
Lindsay, where I'm standing is the main drag of South Lake Tahoe, and typically this street would be clogged with cars because 100,000 people typically descend on Lake Tahoe on Labor Day weekend. That is not happening this time. In fact, you can see there's almost no one here at all. The streets are empty, the sidewalks are empty, and these hotels are filled with only first responders. In fact, if you were to put a canoe and your children into a truck right now and try to come to Lake Tahoe, well, you'd be stopped at a roadblock like this. It's truly an eerie thing to be in a place where generations of Californians, make their memories. And, in the climate changed California, we're now looking at a longer and longer fire season. Of course, here on the ground, the fire has improved. The Caldor fire is now over 210,000 acres, but it is about 29% contained. That's a really good number, and the winds have shifted. It no longer directly threatens Lake Tahoe itself. But you can see the adaptations that businesses here have had to make all over the place. This hotel you can see over my shoulder, the Lake Tahoe Resort, is right at the base of Heavenly. Heavenly is a famous ski resort that in fact had to resort to making its own snow last year because there wasn't enough snowfall. Now they're running those snow blowers basically all the time to try to keep as much moisture in the air as possible. We spoke to the general manager of the Lake Resort Hotel to just find out, how does it feel to have this iconic place utterly abandoned on the eve of the weekend? Here's what he says.
It hurts. Everybody I meet, they all have some route back to Lake Tahoe in their early days, whenever they were. To see this town empty, looking across the street, there's just checkpoints going through town. That's it. There's no tourists, there's no locals, there's no supply trucks going back and forth, and no contractors, locals, nothing.
The good news on the ground is not masked by the larger picture. We still have bad news in the fact that for another couple of months we're going to be looking at high fire danger. And there is, of course, the possibility that this may not be the last time that Lake Tahoe has to shut down because of smoke and fire.
Let's go on over to NBC News digital reporter Maya Eaglin. She's following the latest headlines from NBCnews.com. Hey, Maya.
Hey, Lindsay, we start in a Boston court with a former Catholic cardinal pleading not guilty to sexually assaulting a 16-year-old boy almost 50 years ago. 91-year-old Theodore McCarrick is the only U.S. cardinal to be criminally charged with child sex crimes. His bail was set at $5,000. McCarrick was kicked out of the priesthood in 2019 after a Vatican investigation. His next hearing is set for October 28th. A New York limousine operator avoids prison time after a 2018 crash that killed 20 people. 31-year-old Newman Hassan was charged with 20 counts each of criminally negligent homicide and second-degree manslaughter. But under an agreement, he pleaded guilty only to the homicide counts. Hassan now faces 5 years probation and 1,000 hours of community service. A British national also admitting guilt to the leadership role he played in an Islamic State scheme that eventually led to the beheadings of 4 American hostages. Alexander Anand-Koti pleaded guilty to all 8 counts against him. The plea deal sets a mandatory minimum sentence of life without parole. Japan's prime minister announcing he will not run for re-election after just 1 year in office. The 72-year-old has struggled with low approval ratings, especially over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and his decision to move forward with the Olympic Games in Tokyo this summer. A new leader will be elected September 29th.
Kristen Stewart already stirring Oscar buzz for her role as Princess Diana in the film Spencer. Critics are praising the 31-year-old actress after the movie debuted at the Venice Film Festival Friday. Spencer follows the troubled Princess Diana on a 3-day Christmas getaway with the royals as her marriage to Prince Charles crumbles. The film is set to be released in theaters November 5th. Lindsay, an interesting role there for Kristen.
Yeah, very interesting, and that Oscar buzz, too. All right, thanks, Maya. Debate is heating up after the Supreme Court declined to block a controversial abortion law in Texas. Abortion rights activists are gearing up to fight back as other Republican-led states are starting to follow Texas's lead. NBC News senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson joins us with the high stakes of the future of Roe v. Wade.
Hey there, Lindsay. The legal challenge to the Texas law is now in the hands of a lower court with no timeline on when that ruling could come. But a lot of folks are already looking ahead to a ripple effect now, from the nation's capital to state capitals. From protests to praise, intense reaction to that controversial new Texas abortion law, with the Supreme Court, for now, declining to block it. So what's next?
This is not just about Texas, right? This fight is at our doorstep.
Both sides seeing it as a potentially existential moment for abortion access across the country, with intensifying questions over what this means for the fate of Roe v. Wade, the 1973 landmark abortion rights decision. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi now announcing she'll hold a vote soon on a bill that would enshrine the Roe protections into law. But there's virtually no path for that in the Senate, given Republican opposition, unless Democrats decide to change procedural rules, which for now appears unlikely. At the White House, a combative exchange.
Who does he believe that should look out for the poor child?
He believes that it's up to a woman to make those decisions. I know you've never faced those choices, nor have you ever been pregnant.
President Biden pledging a whole-of-government push, asking the health and justice departments to look at what can be done federally. And the Supreme Court down the road could still rule on whether the law is constitutional. For their part, anti-abortion advocates seem energized, looking to use Texas as a blueprint, with Republicans in Florida and South Dakota already signaling they'll review their laws to see if they can be strengthened. The Texas law, which bans abortions after about 6 weeks and provides incentives to people who sue someone who helps provide an abortion, is crafted to try and make any legal challenge difficult by making enforcement up to private citizens instead of state officials.
We do hope that other states will model their laws after the Texas Heartbeat Act. Our legislative team has already been working with a couple other states on what we did differently.
As for the Supreme Court, the stage is set next term for a major ruling that could affect abortion protections under Roe v. Wade, with justices reviewing a Mississippi law that bans most abortions after 15 weeks.
We've got you taken care of, Sergeant Houston. Thank you. That was fast.
One call to USAA got her a tow, her claim paid, and even her grandpa's dog tags back. Get a quote.
If you make minimum wage in Texas, data shows you'll need to work at least 3 hours to cover the cost of gas alone to travel out of state to get an abortion. So how does a 6-week abortion bill impact women? NBC News Now correspondent Dasha Burns takes a look at the numbers.
Even before this new law, it was difficult to get an abortion in Texas. The state is nearly 270,000 square miles, but Planned Parenthood only had 11 clinics there.
In Texas, it's often a several-week wait before you can get your first appointment, just because of the already limited number of health centers that provide this care.
People will now have to drive an average of nearly 250 miles to get an abortion, likely out of state, according to the Guttmacher Institute. The cost of gas alone for the trip would take 3 hours to earn at minimum wage, and that's just one way.
And they look at us and say, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to travel? How am I going to get there? I can't do that. You have to help me. And there's nothing that we can do to help them, unfortunately.
The number of women who now qualify for abortions will likely plummet. A 2018 survey showed that of 600 people seeking abortion, only 16% were less than 6 weeks into pregnancy by the time of their abortion appointment. But Dr. Kumar says demand is high.
Tuesday, before Senate Bill 8 went into effect, I saw
close to 60 patients. Just for comparison, today I'm only seeing 3 patients that qualify for an abortion in Texas. So the rest of the patients that we typically would see are going to be referred out of state.
But many of Texas's neighbors also have tough abortion restrictions. Louisiana requires ultrasounds 24 hours before an abortion procedure. Oklahoma has a similar rule and also forces patients to get state-directed counseling 72 hours before the procedure can occur.
In Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas, they all have their own state restrictions. It is not a situation in any of our region where you can just make a decision and go quickly or even the same day to get that care. You have to plan ahead, and of course for patients from Texas, that also means planning travel, planning childcare, taking time off of work.
The fear and confusion is palpable for many patients.
Patients have been asking if abortion is still legal for months. Ever since this law was signed by the Governor Abbott in May, people in the state of Texas have been confused and afraid, worried that they may have already lost their right to an abortion. So we've been fielding lots of phone calls from patients for months now.
But for anti-abortion rights activists, the new law achieves the goal, making abortions harder to get.
Right now, the Texas Heartbeat Act is in effect. And so this is a historic moment. This is the first time we've seen this happen. This is a great law that is going to save many lives here in the great state of Texas.
Anti-abortion advocates have been clear about seeking to replicate the Texas law in other states. This is not the final word on Texas's law. A challenge to it is still pending in the lower courts. But in the meantime, hurdles for people who want abortions in Texas just got much higher.
Banks shuttered, ATMs running out of cash, food prices soaring. With the final U.S. troops now out of Afghanistan, a severe economic crisis now faces the Taliban government. And it's one that experts fear could lead to a humanitarian disaster. NBC News Now anchor Allison Morris explains.
The Taliban celebrating as American forces left Afghanistan this week. The militant group now charged with stabilizing one of the world's most fragile economies.
There's a real risk that the economic troubles in Afghanistan will turn into a full-on meltdown, which could spark a humanitarian crisis, waves of migrants leaving Afghanistan for neighboring countries and probably onwards to Europe, and could destabilize South Asia, and nobody wants that.
So why is Afghanistan's economy so fragile? Well, for starters, it's long depended on foreign cash reserves. According to the World Bank, the country got more than $4 billion in international development aid in 2019, about a fifth of its current total economic output. Washington now closing off its support pipeline to the Taliban, freezing access to almost $9 billion in cash reserves. Other major Western governments also plan to stop sending aid, while the International Monetary Fund is putting a hold on payments. One positive for the Afghan people, Western Union's reportedly operating there again after a weeks-long stoppage, reopening a key source of financing for relatives and friends outside the country. Meanwhile, though the Afghan banking system is on the brink of collapse, many lenders closed for weeks while the cash in ATMs is drying up. The Taliban now limiting bank withdrawals to just $200 a week. All of this contributing to a sharp fall in the Afghan currency. Prices on everything from food to fuel already beginning to rise. Afghanistan was already dealing with a dire food shortage, according to the United Nations. A third of Afghans were facing hunger even before the Taliban came back to power.
There is going to be a lot of preparation to do to improve the humanitarian situation before winter in what is a very poor country with harsh conditions. We'll absolutely need the coordination of aid organizations.
The Taliban trying to boost its foreign support, promising to be more inclusive. But many governments, including the U.S., are concerned about the group's human rights record, particularly its treatment of women.
Let me be clear. We'll continue to support the Afghan people through diplomacy, international influence, and humanitarian aid. We'll continue to push for regional diplomacy engagement to prevent violence and instability. We'll continue to speak out for the basic rights of the Afghan people, especially women and girls, as we speak out for women and girls all around the globe. And I've been clear that human rights will be the center of our foreign policy.
All of this uncertainty plus drought, COVID, and ISIS
is threatening to throw Afghanistan into an even more severe economic crisis.
The Taliban is getting ready to unveil the leader of its new government. Taliban sources tell NBC News Mullah Baradar, co-founder of the group, will be named the new president of Afghanistan. NBC News global correspondent Raf Sanchez tells us what we know about the de facto leader.
Lindsay, Mullah Baradar is not a household name in the United States, but he is very well known to the U.S. government. This is a veteran Taliban leader. He fought against the Soviets, and he was actually arrested in Pakistan in a joint CIA-Pakistani operation in 2010. He spent 8 years in prison, but then the Trump administration requested his release because they were looking for somebody to negotiate a peace deal with, and ever since then, Baradar has been the U.S. government's go-to guy in the Taliban. He sat across from U.S. negotiators here in Doha, Qatar, during those peace talks, and 2 weeks ago, the CIA director flew to Kabul and met him face-to-face just days after the city fell. I spoke earlier to Carter Mulcahy. He is a former advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He has met Baradar, and I asked him, what should Americans know about him? Take a listen.
A few things about him is he comes across as very patient. He has a quiet charisma about him. And he doesn't come off as a firebrand or someone who's an extremist in any way. He's had a lot of leadership experience within the Taliban, so he's a tremendously respected figure.
We don't know exactly when the Taliban is going to announce its new government, but we do expect from Taliban commanders that Baradar will be the leader. There was also a question mark over whether there would be any women ministers included in this government, whether the Taliban would try to appease the international community by including women in government. But a Taliban spokesman telling an Italian newspaper this morning that is not going to happen, that women can have administrative roles in government, but cannot be senior ministers. So at some point in the next few days, the 40 million people of Afghanistan will learn who the men who will rule over them will be.
Tear gas is a common defense tool used by law enforcement, but research about its health effects have been pretty limited. Now, a recent new study finds it may be connected to long-term adverse effects. NBC News Now correspondent Maura Barrett explains.
Summer scenes of 2020. Violence through the thick haze of tear gas across at least 100 cities nationally.
Tear gas has been deployed here in Portland.
I covered protests in Portland, which went on for more than 3 months straight. A year later, protesters described being exposed to tear gas night after night.
It was very hard to breathe. I remember running for blocks, trying to gasp and catch air, and it was everywhere. Every block I ran to.
You immediately feel that it's burning to your face. You immediately start coughing and throwing up. You couldn't eat for several days.
Tear gas is banned in most aspects of warfare, but fair game for most police departments across America. Why? Greg Kafori represents someone who was gassed during last summer's protests in Portland.
Police use chemicals with reckless abandon. Nobody seems to know much about them. What are the short-term health effects, the long-term health effects? It's it's a mystery, and learning about it is not easy.
When it comes to crowd control, tear gas is easy to deploy and often effective. But after the crowds disperse, there's limited information on how it affects the people who were exposed.
It's difficult to set up lab environments to test this, to expose people to tear gas, and to then measure and see what's happening to them, because you're exposing people to something that's potentially harmful.
Women like Demetria and Simona experienced new and intense changes in their bodies that coincided with the protests.
It got to the point where we were having 3 periods a month. 3 periods a month? Not just for 1 month. That was for 6 months.
My mood just, and it wasn't even my time yet. It just flooded me. So we had to come home, I had to change my clothes.
Simona says she didn't know she was pregnant. She had gone to the hospital for a hand injury after she says an officer threw her to the ground at a protest.
And then they did the ultrasound. She told me it was already too late, and I was losing the baby. So I didn't even get a chance to
investing to put money back into my gym. Yahoo Finance helps me research and stay on top of my game. Watch out. It's about changing your life for the better.
The women assumed at the time their medical issues were linked to the tear gas exposure. But until this summer, there weren't any medical studies linking issues with women's reproductive systems and tear gas. The most extensive studies were conducted by the U.S. military on mainly male subjects during training exercises, and who were generally healthier than the average person. Then, this spring, a new study released. Dr. Britta Torgerson O'Hario led this